Hello, I'm Janae Tibshirani with 90 at 9, brought to you by interest.co.nz. This is where you get everything you need to know in 90 seconds at 9 o'clock. With the news, the New Zealand dollar is the weakest it's been against the US dollar and Chinese yuan in 6 years. You now only need 4 yuan to buy a New Zealand dollar. A year ago, you needed 5.5 yuan. This 25% appreciation of the Chinese currency may help explain why New Zealand is such an attractive place for the Chinese to invest. China's cabinet has pledged to keep the yuan exchange rate basically stable against the US dollar after talk the country's stock market retreat threatens devaluing the currency. Europe is reopening funding to Greece after Athens yesterday agreed to implement the tough reforms required to secure a bailout deal. The European Central Bank has increased emergency funding for Greek lenders, and the European Union has approved €7.6 billion in bridging loans to keep Greece afloat and allow it to clear some of its debts. The loans will be finalised later today, provided Germany's parliament is happy to open talks on a 3-year bailout programme, Greece's third in 5 years, worth up to €86 billion. The latest figures out of the US show there's underlying momentum in the economy. The number of Americans filing new applications for unemployment benefits fell more than expected last week, and confidence among home builders held at more than a 9.5-year high in July. The solid labour market and firming housing sector suggest the economy is likely to be strong enough to support an interest rate hike this year. In New York, the US Treasury 10-year benchmark yield remains at 2.36%. New Zealand wholesale rates fell sharply yesterday as news of the disastrous global dairy trade auction sunk in. Expectations for a rate cut next Thursday are rising. Commodity prices remain at a slump following an announcement earlier this week that Iran's huge oil and gas reserves will be reopened to Western companies. The US benchmark oil price remains at $51 a barrel, and Brent crude is at $58 a barrel. The gold price is unchanged today at $1,148 an ounce. Yesterday's dairy auction has also weighed heavily on the New Zealand dollar. It's down a cent against the US from this time yesterday to 65.1 US cents, and down more than a cent and a half against the Australian to 87.9 Australian cents. It remains at 60.3 euro cents. The TWI 5 has slipped to 69.9, its lowest level in 3 years. I'm Janae Tibshirani, and that was 90 at 9, brought to you by interest.co.nz.